Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you for checking out another episode of the show. Today's feature singer, songwriter, and returning guest, Chris Chamness. Chris has been working on some brand new tunes, a new record, and stops by to talk about it and even play a couple live acoustic for us. Do want to remind you, as always, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Roughneck Beard Company and American Rambler, located right here in St. Louis, over in the Maplewood area, off of Manchester. Stop by and visit them and pick up some of your favorite all-natural beard oils, beard balms, or your junk powder, or shop 24/7 at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off your purchase. You know, during the hot summer months, it may be tempting to shave, but did you know that having a beard can keep you cooler in the summer heat? Beards provide protection from UV rays and keep sweat off your face so you can keep cooler longer in the hottest heat. Just make sure to keep your beard clean with Roughneck's house-made beard bar. All-natural soap with milled oats and African black soap. Cleanses amazingly without stripping away your natural oils. And if you do decide to shave it off, do it with American Rambler and their amazing pre-shave oils and Miracle Tonic Aftershave. Either way, they've got you covered. Find it all at roughneckbeardcompany.com today and use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off. Also, a big shout out to Heil Sound for their continued support and help me make this show sound great. Been recording these shows with my PR40. I love it, and I think you would too. So check it out, heilsound.com today, and take your recording to the next level. And if you'd like to help continue support this show, also a great way to do that would be visiting the buyjack.com merch store. I got a merch store set up there with shirts and hats and tank tops and all kinds of fun stuff. So check it out, buyjack.com/rockpaperpodcast, and help put a couple bucks towards the show. Big thank you to anybody that's purchased already. I really, truly appreciate all the support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You can find me on the socials. You can find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the email at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think of Chris's brand new tunes. And with all that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy this new episode with Chris Chamness.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Chris Chamness, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Chris Chamness. I said it right, didn't I?
Chamness.
Chamness,
Yeah.
man.
Not quite like an A.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's all
was
right.
messing me up too.
Yeah.
Well, and then like that's the thing. Like sometimes I just had you say it, and then I get to thinking, I'm like, wait, was it this way or that? And then I like,
Yeah.
then I get to overthinking it and too much. And
That's all right.
Yeah, but
That's all right.
Chamness.
Yeah, like spam.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we did one of these. Actually, I looked at it. It was like 2 years ago, May of 19. We hung out with the band, the Monolithic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we first met, and we kind of been maintain connection through social media and everything since. I haven't really got to see you. We don't, we kind of live at very different parts.
Probably about 2.5 hours apart, honestly. So.
But we met here in the middle of downtown St. Louis, get to hang out today, and you got working on some brand new solo material, which is what we're going to get into. But I thought this would be cool, especially just the two of us today, that we can kind of dive into some of your other stories of you and especially as a solo songwriter and stuff, like what some of the stories are coming behind some of these songs and the early days of picking up a guitar and things. So, I guess you always live in Southern Illinois. Has that always been home for you?
I lived there through basically when I was born through college. I went to SIU in Carbondale, and then I spent a few years after that living up in Chicago, actually. Okay. And then in Rockford too, which is just like a stone's throw from the Wisconsin border. And then moved back down to Southern Illinois again. So now I'm close once again to Carbondale.
All right. I went over there not too long ago. Me and my uncle. It's been several years now, but he's a big fan of Head East.
Oh, their bass player is the one who taught me how to play guitar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Rich Creedor, yeah. He doesn't play with them anymore. He left several years ago.
Yeah. They've definitely had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup and stuff. But
he was with them for about 20, 25 years, I want to say. Something like that. I have no idea.
Well, we went over there. It was some kind of, I think it was originally the idea was like a PBS kind of special of some sort they were filming. And I think it was at the university. In the theater or something like that. I think it was something like, I don't know. Some of the details are fuzzy, but what I do remember is we went to Quattro's Pizza while we were over there, and that was awesome. So
Quattro's is amazing.
Yeah, so shout out to Quattro's. If you want to start sponsoring the show or anything, that would be great. Or just send me some free pizza. I'd be happy with that too.
Growing up in Southern Illinois, you got the phone number stuck in your head. Did you ever hear the jingle? This is like on the radio, like whenever everywhere always had the radio on, you always heard their jingle, I don't know if you want me to sing it, but it's okay. But it gives you their phone number every time. And so it just so happened that recently we were going to get some pizza from there, and my dad was over visiting, and he's like, what's their phone number again? And he was being serious because I looked at him. I thought he was just joking, and I was like, we heard that like every day for a long time. But so I remembered it. I'll probably remember that until I die.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's definitely,
it's good though.
Some of the advertising, there's a reason why somebody got paid a lot of money to come up with those things. They get those little catchy earworms and they just get stuck in your head. And, but yeah, man. Anyway, but that's what I think about when I was like, man, I've been thinking about that pizza for quite a while. I want to
it's awesome.
Get back down there and try some more pizza.
Yes.
But,
well, now I know that maybe the next time I'm out this way, I'll bring you some Quattros.
There you go. Yeah. We talk about it. Me and my uncle, like every now and then we'll come up and talk about maybe another road trip and do that some. But, anyway, but so what? So you said you learned some guitar from him, and
Rich Creedor taught me how to play for the first 7 years of playing. I was like 11 to 18, and then as soon as I started going to college, I just basically started doing it on my own.
Yeah. What was did you have any family play or anything? Like what was like the initial thing that like when you made you want to pick up a guitar? And
the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back when I was like 9 or 10, they had there was whenever they were releasing that Beatles 1 collection, and I'd always kind of been into music, even like when I was a really little kid. Like I used to pick up different items around the house and pretend like I was playing the guitar, like even when I was like 1 or 2, and I've seen it on VHS. But they had a commercial out for that thing, and for that compilation, I just thought it looks so cool, and I wanted to be like that, so that was like my initial thing, especially the footage of them on the rooftop in 1969. I was just like, they are so awesome. Like I wish I was like that, and so then down it, they were like my obsession for a long time, and I'm sure Rich had to teach me like countless Beatles songs before I finally found somebody else, like The Who or anybody else.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, but like that's I talk about it quite a bit on the show, but it just kind of blows my mind still, like how much those 4 guys created and changed music and culture and everything. Like,
oh yeah,
and how fast everything was happening. Like, they didn't have they produced a lot in their time
7
together.
years,
yeah, but they weren't. It's not like it was like a super long period of time like that. But they have a large body of work to show for that. But it's like, and then just like crazy to think about, like, and how fast everything was happening. Like their looks and their just everything's just evolving so fast at that time and stuff. So
they had like decades of a lifetime together within about 7 years. Like just not only like you mentioned their appearance. Like the way that evolved in a very short amount of time is crazy. Like you don't have that kind of speed right now, like, which is fine.
Yeah. But it's just wild, man. Those guys are, and then like I always think about it too, like that people still say they suck or something, like some, just
say that to sound edgy,
right? But it was just like, how can you say that? Like so many people, it just wouldn't. I don't even know who probably wouldn't even be playing today,
right?
Because if those guys, who knows what to think about it. But if they're like that, well, that's what's like kind of crazy is there's that movie like. Whatever, yesterday they made it like if nobody knew the Beatles existed, it's like, so it's like, and that's like that's kind of the thing is like it's just weird to think about how much they've changed everything we know at the last 60 years.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But so yeah, definitely a good starting point. I mean, and they have some of those easier pop kind of single songs that you can actually like learn.
I think like the first one that really got to me was "Love Me Do," which is like their first single they ever released. I will say, you asked if there's anybody in my family. Neither of my parents really play that much music. Like I think they played stuff, like maybe in marching band or something like that, or just in school in general. But I remember growing up when I was like 3 or 4, my uncle Jimmy, so that's on my mom's side, had his senior pictures done with his bass guitar.
Okay.
And that's another one where I was just like, he looks so awesome. I want to be just like, so I basically just like, so my Uncle Jimmy is also to thank for me starting to play guitar. Cause then like, I remember that I think there was like a Christmas Eve where we spent up there and he had put like a bow on his bass for me to like play, it was super cool.
Nice, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I never really had that. My dad played just a bit, like doing some, I used to dabble with a guitar and harmonica. Harmonica was more his thing. Like, he would sit in with different blues bands or bluegrass stuff, and then we would jam some just with random players around town sometimes. And I'll say having a couple harmonicas he could just keep in the truck, and he'd be
it's awesome.
It wasn't like it had a lot of gear to haul around and set up and stuff, but he could just jump in and jam with some bands sometimes. And But anyway, so like music's always been there, but like I never really had anybody like or nothing really pushing me towards like playing and stuff. I've just been a super fan, but it's cool that you found it, that started playing guitar and but what about songwriting? When does have you always had an interest in writing and your own stuff?
I think I started writing relatively young, but not very often, because I think I would write, and a lot of the stuff that I would do, especially whenever you're first starting out, is like, it's just super derivative of, so like everything probably sounded like I was trying to rip off a specific Beatles song here and there when I was a kid. And then like I got into like later high school and started writing with a couple of groups then. And like pretty much off and on from then through like my mid-20s, I was, writing here and there, but I never really quite liked a lot of the stuff that I was writing. Like because you sit there and you stack yourself up to all the artists that you make. You stack yourself up to their entire career, including like their masterpieces, so you start to get discouraged, and it's like, oh, I can't write, I can't write like that. And it's like, well, they all started somewhere, if you compare the Beatles' first stuff to their final stuff, I mean, like, what do you, you can't measure that. So then I think like when I was about 25 or 26, I just kind of was like, screw it, I'm going to start writing. And if it's bad, then it's bad. And I just won't put it out. Nobody has to hear what I'm doing. And then if it's good, then of course I'll put it out. So that's where I started writing with the band that we talked with a couple years ago, the Monolithic. And like that's kind of like what the breeding ground was for more confidence, I guess, in writing. So was being in that band, being with a couple other people who could write very well too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like I don't know if there's actual quote from somebody or whatever, but I think like it's just kind of a general rule down for like Nashville writers. But like they say, like you're gonna write 100 bad ones before you write a good. It's like that kind of thing. Like you have to. You just kind of got to get them out of the way, and like you just got to keep writing until you finally start getting the hang of it and stuff.
Right. So. Yeah. For me, there's like 3 levels of songwriting. There's like one that like nobody ever hears, and that's because they're awful. There's the second one is that I bring it into the guys that I brought in from my for my band, and after playing it, I realize that it's a bad song. And then there's the ones that I bring into them that I think are good. So like there's so many different levels to the quality for me, but the ones that finally like actually get through are the ones that matter, I guess, the most. So.
Do you remember the first one or an early one that is there one that still kind of comes to mind when you think about some of their?
Yeah. Like when I was like 17, this girl that I was dating broke up with me. And so, just sad, so I wrote a song called I remember it was in the same tuning as Name by the Goo Goo Dolls, because we had just actually seen them together live down by the river, and
great band.
And I'd been messing around with that tuning because it's a very different one. They like to use different tunings for their songs, and I ended up writing a song called Lonely Without You, and like, I'll be honest, like, I don't think it was that bad of a song, but every now and then the bridge of it will come to me, and man, it was awful. It was so bad. Like, I still get that stuck in my head at least once a month.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have to like beat yourself up for a while before you're like, no, that was, like 14 years ago. So.
Right. Yeah. A couple of things came to mind as you're saying that, but I remember, I went to see, I'm like big into a lot of that, like, just because it's stuff I grew up with, all the 90s rock and all this, different things. And but it was here in St. Louis that they did like a way back Point Fest thing where they brought in a bunch of 90s, groups that we all loved. And so it was kind of fun to see a lot of these guys that you hadn't seen in many years. One of them being Eve Six showed up, and
nice.
And I remember a direct quote, the singer said, he's like, this song may sound like it was written by an 18-year-old because it was. And, just thinking about singing the song 20 years later, still like that sad, 18-year-old boy or whatever. So I just think about like, if you would have held on to that song and still be playing it today, like
true. Good point. I don't think I could. I wouldn't want to.
But yeah, those guys, I think it was like, whatever. If it was Inside Out or whichever one it was, but it's just kind of crazy to think about, like that, they still be singing these songs 20, 30 years later.
Yeah. I wonder sometimes, with even people who have like an even longer career than that, like think about, we keep talking about the Beatles, but like think about Paul McCartney. Like cause I saw him at Bush 5 years ago, and like, he's playing songs that are 50 plus years old, but like the thing is they still resonate. So how must that feel,
yeah,
I don't know. Just it's indescribable.
Right. It's kind of strange that, like, he's still writing new stuff or whatever, but it's like, but people hang on to the songs that you wrote when you were 20 years old or whatever. Still, like, I don't know. Yeah. It was kind of weird. Like, you're almost like have to, as a professional, performer, like your life is stuck in this,
So he doesn't seem to mind though. He's not like one of those people, because every now and then you'll get it where it's like people are like, oh, I don't want to play this song again. He like genuinely enjoys every moment, which that's great.
Yeah. I think that's the way, you have to do that. I think you have to embrace it, right. Otherwise if you push back, I think it's never going to work. Like there's definitely been cases of bands that are hate their songs that they're known for, whatever, the hit and stuff. So
like when I was like 20, a band that I played at Point Fest, and that was the year that Coheed was there, and like I think they wanted to play like all their new stuff, but you could tell everybody just wanted to welcome home, and so at the end they kind of like sulkily played it, I guess I'll play this song, So then of course everybody goes crazy, which probably just made them even more angry. So.
Yeah, that Goo Goo Dolls, I saw those guys not long ago. they did what was it, 20? I think it was 20th or 25th, maybe, or whatever it is. I forget the year now, but
Is it Dizzy Up the Girl?
Yeah, Dizzy Up the Girl record, and they
that probably would have been the 20th because I think it was released in like '98.
Yeah,
I think
they came through town and played that. The first set was Dizzy Up the Girl, and the second set was like other deep cuts.
That's awesome.
So like it was just them all night at the pageant, and it was a great show.
That's really cool because that's an amazing album.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's a weak song on it. So.
Yeah, and like especially get them to just go through the whole record, like it's pretty cool. So
yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it was a good night, man. But yeah, they're fun. They still sound good. And,
good.
Yeah,
I'll actually be like a band that I'm really into is Suede. In America, they're called the London Suede because there's like a jazz singer in New York or something that goes by Suede. Anyway, it was a whole big thing back in like the mid 90s. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary of one of their huge albums. So I'm actually flying over to Leeds in November to go see that because they never come to America. It's like, I'm playing the whole album thing. I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah. That'd be wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never done any of that. I wish I could travel a little more and see the world and get to experience some of that stuff. But
it was a spur of the moment decision.
Yeah.
But every now and then I get buyer's regret about, but that's all right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, man. Well, you, so we, we're kind of talking about some of this, but you're working on some new material. We have, and this is all your debut as a solo artist, correct?
Yes. Yeah. The single and then the EP. Yeah. It's all the first things that I've done just on my own. Because I always felt like, I think once again, this is like the Beatles coming into play. I felt like I needed to be in a band, with other creative people. And after a while, I remember a roommate of mine in Chicago was like, just go out on your own at some point. I was like, no, I can't do that, And then finally one day I was like, you know what, I think I can. And so about 2 years ago, I got the idea to start trying. So.
Yeah. Well, we've been hard at work on like I said, new EP, and the debut single is due out on June 18th, Friday, and you'll be able to pick that up wherever you're getting your digital music at.
Yep.
And but it's a song called "What You've Got," and a lot of fun, man. This is like I wasn't entirely sure what to expect from obviously I think everybody's probably feeling a similar way because it's your first your debut, man, as an artist. So so it's kind of, like I knew some of the stuff from the band, a little more rock and roll kind of stuff, and so I figure some of that influence might come through. But I was just it was always kind of fun to hit play and see what it's going to be. And
sure,
but I really enjoyed this song, man, and it was a lot of fun.
The places that you go, skies that swallow every word, strange things that you've never heard, always something you won't know. Hey, now you're standing on the razor's edge, waiting for the winds to blow. Come away now, far away to distant dreams. What you've got to show. Killing light shining on your head. You cut so deep, but you barely bled. You feel their eyes pull at your soul. Sounds that keep you up at night. Silence screams with all its might, lying in the afterglow. Hey, now you're standing on the razor's edge, waiting for the winds to blow. Come away now, far away
any particular story come to mind with this song, or?
Not really. It's honestly just about being a musician in general, which maybe that's stereotypical, but like some of the lines in it pertain to some of the guys that I've played with over time. Like the drummer for the Monolithic is the same as the guy who I took in to do these songs, and so some of the lines are about traveling with him because Shane is like Shane Cordovant, obviously not you. I don't. You know Shane.
I think we've like met in passing,
Probably,
maybe like at an oyster bar.
Yeah,
show and stuff.
yeah. You would have met because I think he's the one who introduced me to you.
Yeah.
But
He didn't make it to the podcast that day,
No.
but we've definitely know each other though.
Yeah. Now he like traveling with him is super interesting because I swear he sees the world completely differently than anybody else you'll ever. And so like or he'll just sometimes he's got stories from like his past bands that sound out of this world, and so I'm not fit to tell them because that's another thing he's just good at is telling these stories.
Yeah.
If I told them they wouldn't sound very funny, but so some of the lines in it are about that. Like there's like I think one of the lines, it says something like skies that swallow everywhere, the strange things that you've never heard, always something you won't know, and that was just like referencing his stories because he always has new stories for you. You feel like he'll have run out at some point. No, there's a new one right there.
Right.
So yeah. So some of that's about, I guess, if he wants to think about it that way, some of that song is about him. So, but just about traveling in general too with a band.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's did come to mind. You like I guess going into the chorus there is like as you mentioned Razor's Edge.
Yeah, standing on the razor's edge.
And I always my brain, because I'm a fan, is I go to Razor Ramon 90s wrestling with Scott Hall, and that was his move, was the Razor's Edge. So I don't know if you ever got into wrestling at all, but that's so I don't know. Like I kept thinking, obviously the song is very different, but I kept thinking every time you say Razor's Edge, in my mind, I see, just like him doing his move. It's like kind of like where he gets the guy up by his, like grabs by his like armpits and he lifts him up and drops him like on his shoulders and stuff. And so yeah,
I'm honestly, the line came to me and I feel like whenever I do some of my better songwriting, it's just like a bunch of stuff all coming from different directions and like even on individual lines, it's like from somewhere else, and so for some reason while I was writing this song, I imagined the cover of Razor's Edge, which is an AC/DC album, and I don't even really listen to them that much, but I just remember seeing it before, and that came to me, and I was like, oh, that's actually a really good analogy for whatever, So you can apply it to whatever you want.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's definitely a bunch of them, but I was like, and that's probably exactly where he drew inspiration. And I mean, obviously named Razor Ramon, but also it was just like that's just where my mind, that was the reference in my brain. And so now
that's all right.
And then once I went there, then that's all like every time you say it, that's where I'm just picturing that. So
that's all right. Open to interpretation.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I've been really, and then it doesn't help. I've really been like getting back. I watched a ton of wrestling as a kid. Like me and my brother, and always been practicing all the moves afterwards and stuff. But it was a big part of my life growing up, and watching WCW, Nitro, and all that, and the years when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, formed the Outsiders and NWO and all, whatever. I don't know how much if you ever watch any of it, but like it was a big chunk of my youth, and like but on A&E, they've been doing a run of like biographies on a lot of these guys.
Cool.
From Mick Foley, Macho Man, Andre the Giant was on that was the HBO one, but they ran that also, and Bret the Hitman Hart and all these guys that I grew up watching. So it was, and then there's another series that they started doing on A&E also, where they're like going around like looking for their like old stuff, like all the things. I guess they're working on building a like WWE Hall of Fame type of things, where all this will be on display, all these pieces of, whatever outfits and different things, whatever it was that made that character. But I don't know, man, it's like, these guys live these wild lives, but like there's, especially watching that biography stuff, like you realize like how, how much these guys are going through and things. And it's like,
oh yeah,
they're
everybody's human,
right?
So, yeah.
But their personal lives and how they still gotta and some of these guys get addicted to the life of and it ruins their personal life because they're so into their character life and stuff.
Was probably an adrenaline rush for them.
I mean, but it only lasts for the 5 minutes you're in the ring or whatever, and then you step off, and then you're chasing that high again. And
because then you're like, well, what do I do with the rest of my time now?
So these, I don't know. There's a lot of wild stories that came out of those, and especially that era of and stuff. But a lot of these guys were doing all sorts of different drugs and different things. It's but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. But anyway. That's what. So it's been on my mind a lot.
Okay, that's all right.
Been watching a lot of wrestling lately. So
yeah,
and part of me one, I just find a lot of these guys' stories interesting, but two, I think it's probably a sense of nostalgia for me because because I don't it's not I said I'm not really keeping up with a lot of the current stuff, but that period of time in my life and stuff, for sure, going back to 6th grade or whatever. So kind of. Whatever it was in that era of my life and stuff. So
yeah, no, I totally get that.
Yeah, but yeah, man. So you'll have the debut single out, and you were saying you mentioned kind of that AC/DC Razor's Edge artwork kind of came into mind, but you worked on your own artwork for this record, and you had help from somebody helped you out with that, right?
Yeah. So his name is Ahmed Eldin, and he's from Egypt, and he's actually the guy that did the final Pink Floyd album cover, "The Endless River," which came out in 2014. It was it's kind of like a companion to what's their last album, The Division Bell. It was a bunch of instrumental stuff that they recorded around them, but then they ended up the remaining members Dave and Nick put some new stuff kind of over it recently, but he did the album cover for The Endless River.
So that's pretty wild. I mean, that whole 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing.
I hope my life goal is to have a Bacon number at some point in time.
Right. Yeah. But it's cool to have that a connection there to, of course, to Pink Floyd, but also it's just neat to have him, especially from Egypt, somebody.
Yeah, he was super great. I didn't know how he would be about responding or anything, but he always came across on his posts as very humble, because once I found out who had done the artwork, I started following him on Facebook and Instagram, and I would just keep an eye on his stuff, and I was like, I really like all that. And then one day he posted something, and I was like, that would almost be perfect for my record, so I reached out to him. And he was, like I said, just super kind and very responsive.
Yeah, man.
Very easy to work with. So
yeah, and that's cool that you're able to do these kind of things just through the internet. That we bringing people together like that across the world.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's I just recorded one last night with a group, and they're talking about how recording during the pandemic and everything, and and their singer is in Kansas City and the band's in St. Louis, and so the whole time, this whole record that they put together is all Frankenstein from everybody recorded in separate rooms and everything. Mm-hmm. Nothing was recorded as them as a unit, as a band.
Oh
wow! It still sounds great, but it's just it's wild to think about that this entire project was recorded over the internet.
No kidding.
And stuff. So people recorded their parts and sent in, and everything was done to a click track and stuff.
Sure.
And they lined it all up and produced the pieces. And
we got really lucky that we did all the basic backing tracks to this in February of 2020. So it was right before. And so then everything that was left to be done was my doing. So it was easy to just go in the studio with my producer and just do it myself, because at that point in time, it was basically just as long as you don't feel sick, we'll keep working, know, so.
Right. Yeah. Weird time to, be thinking about, but just crazy that how much that changed everything and shut everything down. And just it was just, I don't know. I mean, I'm not to take away from anything. Obviously, it's a very serious thing, but it's just like, man, it was like just wild how everything just came to a screeching halt and stuff as far as the music business. And
so
stuff.
Sudden. Yeah. Because I just played a gig and then I was taking a week off to go hang out with some friends in Chicago. And we were out and about, like, and this is on like March 13th, 14th, 15th, you know. And I remember on the 15th, I went to visit my brother up there too. And that was like right when all the news was coming in that tomorrow, you know, the 16th, the famous day, everything's shutting down. You know, it was just like, so sudden. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think I was at the bar working the night before, and then like they were like, or you know, all the rumors are starting like, it's our last night, or you know, that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, it's just crazy. But you were able to, at least I think it's cool that you were able to, you know, still keep working on the record and stuff behind the scenes, making this happen. You and your producer, and what's your producer's name?
So his name is Elijah Shaw. He also just goes by Lidge as short, which is, I've never heard that shortening for but anyway, he's so cool. He's so that's down in Nashville, Tennessee. At his studio that he owns is called Toybox Studios. You can look it up, and he used to do, I think he just recently stopped, but he used to do all the hay bale sessions for Bonnaroo too. So like a lot of the artists that were coming through, they literally were setting up a studio in all these, in like this makeshift studio that's built out of like hay bales. And, you know, they're recording big names, like all you know, I want to say like, I know Damon Albarn is one of them because I'm obsessed with Blur, and he told me about that. I can't think of everybody right now. I know I want to say like maybe Elbow or Spoon or somebody like that, you know, was also in there. But just all the big names that would come through and do a hay bale session at Bonnaroo as well. Mm-hmm. And so you can look all those up on YouTube. But he also, I know that he won a Grammy for something associated with the studio, and I feel terrible that I don't know what it is, but he's awesome. He's great. He was great to work with, and he was just because he's also so honest. You know, you go into a studio and you don't realize that you don't always want a yes man, and so like I think I took 6 or 7 songs in, and so it was great to have somebody say, "Well, these 3 are good, but this song that you think you want to record, it actually sucks. Like, we're not going to do that." You know, like, oh, okay. Because then now I'll go back and listen to the original demos that I had taken in, and I'm like, oh, he was right. That song did suck, you know? So, and then like he even picked one that I wouldn't have even thought that we're doing, that's going to be on the EP. So, he was awesome to work with, and I'll be working with him again on the next release. So, because I'm building up another arsenal of songs right now.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know, man. That the whole world is like really interesting to me. Also, like, I kind of wish I mean, not that it's ever like too late, but I kind of wish I would have gone to school younger and learned music production and done some of the stuff. I didn't. At the time, you know, when you're going to high school and you're like talking to your guidance counselors and trying to figure out what you want to do with your life and all that.
Sure.
At that time, I was like, I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
Like I had an idea. Like I thought maybe I wanted to be a school teacher, and then, you know, and not that I don't, but it's just like life kind of took a turn. I'm not really pursuing that, and I kind of really got into this music stuff, and more and more, and I'm like, man, it would have been cool to like if I could do that, because I do have these ideas sometimes. Like, you know, people do play songs for me sometimes, and I'm like, maybe it'd be cool to do this here or
right.
that, and like, you know, and I don't know, I really enjoy it, and if I could somehow be around it even more, and you know, that would be cool. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's cool to have that person though, like that you guys, that relationship works so well that you able to, you know, create these songs and put out the best product you could.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's, I mean, because he's not only a great producer, he's a great engineer too. Yeah. But so it was very easy to work with him in that regard.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that person like to kind of help you out, like to pitch the ideas or tell you, like, because sometimes you get, I think as artists, some people can kind of get too attached to something sometimes, or whatever, where you're like, you've heard it this way, but it's hard to like, think about, well, maybe if we changed the, BPM or tone, whatever, to double this, whatever, cut that part, and
absolutely.
like it makes some adjustments to it, and then it becomes, all of a sudden it clicks, and like, here, that's the way it should be, it's like, so I always
agree.
It's always a fun thing like to think about, but sometimes people get used to just playing it the same way they've been doing it when they wrote the song. And
there's some stuff that I had to after we were done with everything, and then I wanted to start practicing the songs on my own. I had to go and like relearn what I did in the studio, because some of it ended up being spur of the moment. I would come up with something, or Lidge would come up with something, and I'd have to play it then. And as soon as the take was good, that was it. Like I didn't have to play it again, and so I forgot a lot of stuff. But now it's all coming back to me, luckily.
Sure.
But, without having played a gig yet with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's leak out another one. We did a live acoustic version of which will be the title track, correct?
Title track of the EP.
Square One.
Yeah.
And this was super fun, man. This was like my first time hearing this song, and I really enjoyed this a lot. Like it just felt good, just cool. Like it was I don't know. Like I was trying to I try not to like think about too much, but like it definitely kind of just felt familiar, in a sense. Like it's one, even though if it's you're hearing it the first time, you still felt like there's something I've heard before, and so which is always cool. Like too, like so I don't know. I don't know exactly what. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it just felt that feeling came over me. Like like this is. I wanted to start singing along already. Like I knew the words, but I just, it's the first time I heard it. So yeah. So I mean, that's what it's a cool thing too, when that music kind of has that effect on you and stuff. So, but what do you, anything come to mind around Square One?
It's about having anxiety, honestly.
Really?
Anxiety and depression, I guess.
Is that something you deal with a lot? Or?
Yeah. I'm on happy pills now, though, so it's better. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, even whenever you take stuff like fluoxetine or whatever, like it's still, you don't always have like great days. So it's not like it just goes away, everything. But I definitely deal with both of those on a regular basis. And so whenever I had written this song, I was like right in the thick of it, and it took, because it takes so long to ask for help, from somebody. And because for a long time I was like, I should be able to fix this myself. I shouldn't need to take meds or anything like that, but after a while you just have to be like, listen, something is chemically wrong with me. Like I need to do something about it. So that was a big stepping point in my life in general. But yeah, so that's, I think because this is actually like the second version of the song, because I think whenever I first wrote it, part of it was about that, but part of it was also a bit about like the political atmosphere at the time. And then some of the lyrics weren't that great, and Lidge pointed that out, and I was like, well, actually I kind of have a different idea for some of the verse lines, and that fixed it a lot, because I just started writing in a journal, just my thoughts, kind of just running commentary or whatever, and then I'll go back and read it later, and all these phrases kind of just started jumping out at me, and I was like, oh, that'd be a good way to begin every verse, because every verse begins with the empty blah blah blah, blah whatever, So, the first verse is the empty silence you must fill, which is, which whenever you're just on your own, and you're all your thoughts are what's occupying your mind, the empty things we must try, meaning the empty things that you try to do to get over your depression or your anxiety, or not get over it, but push through it. So it ended up being about that. It ended up being a much better song, because I'm also who needs another political song, right now? Unless I was actually going to say something super different, there's just no point. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Empty silence you must fill with Lots of mountains made from hills. Words that twist around your head, misremembering things unsaid. The empty places we must hide. What you have to show, what you do to survive. Maybe it's another dream, broken frame on a silver screen. Now we're back to where we started. Nothing has been done, just another fight that can't be won. Spinning circles, maybe it's a sign of what's to come. We're back to where we started at square one. Empty things that we must try. The pattern of our days leave us helpless in the night. Their inner shadows twist and grow, swallow light that once did show. Now we're back to where we started. Nothing has been done, just another fight that can't be won. Spinning circles, maybe it's a sign of what's to come. We're back to where we started at square one. We're back to where we started at square one. Nothing has been done, just another fight that can't be won. Spinning circles, maybe it's a sign of what's to come. We're back to where we started at square one. We're back to where we started at square one. We're back to where we started at square one.
I'm kind of the same with this show too. People, I'm just like, that's kind of my one thing is like no political talk. I just not into it. But there's hundreds of other shows. If you're into political talk, there's there's
other podcasts.
There's a lot
talk
of them.
about that.
Yeah. So I mean, I just feel like I have nothing to bring to it. Like I have nothing new to like.
Exactly. If you felt like you had something new to say, great.
Right.
But if you don't, what's the point in repeating something that you heard from somebody else?
Yeah. But yeah, but yeah, man, I'm with you. I know, especially, you know, the big part of it is the last like 2 years of my life, like, been a real struggle. Finally getting to a much better place, mentally and working on getting there physically. But my mom was diagnosed with brain cancer in June of 19 and passed in December of 19. And so like dealing with all that with her, especially how sudden and fast, everything.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
It was,
Really can't.
it really messed my head up, and we were real tight too. Like me and my mom were, go to a lot of shows together and stuff, so like we had a real strong relationship. And then of course, right after she passed, to go into a global pandemic. And
right. Yeah.
So
man.
it was just like a lot of stuff, like, just on my mind all the time. And just like there's days where you're just,
because then you're at home with all of that, like you can't, you're not really you can't do too much then to escape what's going on in your head.
My escape is live music, and it was,
right. Yeah. So, and that was shut down.
That's my thing. Like, and like, I always kind of found that music and the people always kind of make me happy. So like, that was where I started trying to go to shows as often as possible, just to, and it's like, if I can kind of take my mind off everything for an hour or two at the show, and just enjoy the music and the energy of the people and stuff, and and not get lost in my head of thinking about all the bad shit that's going on. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, it's good that what is a release for you. Like that. That's good, because not everybody finds that. Sure. Like it took me a long time to realize that actually what I do, singing, is one for me. Like I realized that I would feel much better. So during the pandemic, like especially whenever that hit, and suddenly I couldn't go out and sing anymore, it was like, what do I do? Like I suddenly felt like I had no purpose. And then it took realizing that actually singing is what makes me feel better most days. And so then I started doing the live streams, and then I got tired of doing that, because it's like not playing in front of anybody sucks.
Sure.
So even though there's people watching, on Facebook Live, like I couldn't do it anymore. Right. You can't hear.
Sure. The heart's going up as if is one, but
only doing so much.
Right.
So
I'm with you. Like it's just it's a weird thing that would happen. I mean, but at least you had some sort of connection. But at the same time, it's like never going to replace.
No, and neither should you expect anything to. I mean, that's not the point.
Right.
You shouldn't have to. It's fine that that's there. You just live with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But nothing's going to replace even as me as a musician, or not a musician, but as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I like going out to shows. Like I'd tune in for a little bit. I'd watch like a song or whatever. It sounds cool, sounds good, but like I get nothing out of it either. Like as much as you're not getting that feedback, I'm not feeling it either. Like
right.
It's just very, but it's a very stale kind of thing, because like you're not. No matter how great you play or how the band's live or whatever, it's still not that energy they're giving back.
Right. Yeah. Because the energy isn't necessarily just from the band. It's from the crowd giving that energy back to the band, and the band, like, it's just a, a constant circle, basically. Right. And you also, as one person in a crowd, feed off the energy of the rest of the crowd too, that they're giving back to the band.
There's something magical that happens at a show like that. And it's just like, it doesn't come through on a phone, whatever.
People being into it makes all the difference.
Yeah, man. So I really can't wait till we get back full steam with everything. Like we're really getting to get sweaty on the patio out there at Oyster Bar. Or whatever, just like, which I think is as we're recording this, I think they're going back to late nights and stuff over there, and full bands starting this week. So all that is fine by me, and
that's
all
great.
Good signs. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, man, and calendar is filling up really fast with like all these great tours coming through town and stuff.
Oh, I can imagine. So yeah, and it was because like 2022 is going to be nuts, because like so many people push their tours off until then, and like because like I'm seeing Roger Waters in Nashville in like August next year.
All right,
because I was supposed to see him, I think August of 2020, but obviously
I like. I've seen some people do it like where it's like, world tour or whatever, 2019, cross that out, 2020, cross that out, I'm like, and so it makes me laugh. I mean, it's sad, but it's also kind of funny. So, but yeah, man, we've got one more. We did live acoustic today, and this was another just fun. This was a cover of Oasis.
Yep.
And your version of their song "Stand by Me," And we kind of mentioned, even Pink Floyd and heading over there to for a show in England, right?
Yeah.
So
Go see
like,
Suede, yeah.
yeah, was that? So I'm guessing like, and even Beatles,
Yeah.
like I'm guessing that's all that stuff's like a pretty big influence on you, right? And all the the English pop stuff like that.
Yes, yeah. Basically, just all the British bands.
Right.
I'm aside from the artists that are so well known from the previous decades, like a lot of my influences come from like 90s Britpop, like people like Oasis or just Noel Gallagher in general. Like his solo stuff is pretty good. So is Liam's.
Yeah.
And people like Suede, Pulp, Supergrass, and then even into more modern acts like the Maccabees, who actually aren't even a band anymore. But I got to see them when I lived in Chicago, and it was so crazy to see them, or like see Kasabian or people like that, because when the Maccabees came over, like over there in England and in Europe and stuff like that, they can pack theaters, and then they came here to like a 500 person venue, and there were maybe 100 people there, and this is Chicago, like one of the, probably the third biggest city in the country, and I don't think that they cared, it's cool enough for them to be in America maybe, but it's just odd. Like I wish that there were more people into that kind of music here. I just feel a lot more connection with that, and so every now and then I think like maybe I should just like be pushing for go over there instead, who knows? That kind of stuff's my thing.
Yeah, I got friends like that too, like the same thing. Like they'll go play in Europe and they're like rock stars, and then they come home to St. Louis or whatever, and nobody knows who they are. Like, it's just kind of a strange thing that you would think could be the other way around, but it's just like,
well, America is so big,
right?
Like people don't realize that. Like England is about the size of Illinois, and so almost territorial, it makes it a little easier too, and like. Then if you just separate each country, you've got so many different cultures just within one continent. Whereas with ours, like if you want to call America a melting pot, whatever, but like there's still a pervading sense of this one solid culture, maybe not necessarily monoculture anymore, but there, everything is just a little smaller. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why, and maybe that's also why they have this sense of how important music is to them, because I don't know. I can't explain it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thing for sure. Mm-hmm. But what about Stand By Me? Is there anything that in particular why you picked this song, or is it just one that always Oasis just kind of stuck out to you? Yeah, I just the
album that it's off of, Be Here Now. Actually, just today's record store day, and I went out and bought that album on vinyl.
Oh, nice.
Not necessarily why I picked that, but like it's like one of the Oasis songs that I know how to play that not everybody would be like, oh yeah, I know that song. I don't want to sit here and play Wonderwall,
Right. That's one of my favorite memes is Hulk Hogan with a guitar and like, anyway, here's Wonderwall, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it just like Liam has Oasis vocalist has done an acoustic version of it. And I thought it sounded great as an acoustic song. They've got a version, I think that's more unplugged, on like the extended edition of Be Here Now. And it just works really well as that. I wouldn't necessarily say there was any particular reason why I chose that song other than that I like it. So.
Yeah, man.
Sunday, I got a lot of things to learn. Said I wouldn't, I'd be leaving one day before my heart starts to burn. So what's the matter with you? Sing me something new. Don't you know the cold and wind and rain don't know, they only seem to come and go away. Times are hard be upon the floor. Maybe you and I would not believe in the things we find behind the door. So what's the matter with you? Sing me something new. Don't you know the cold and wind and rain don't know? They only seem to come and go away. Stand by me. Nobody knows the way it's gonna be. Stand by me. Nobody knows the way it's gonna be. Stand by me. Nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows the way it's gonna be. If you're leaving, will you take me with you? I'm tired of talking on my phone. There is one thing I could never give you. My heart will never be your home. So what's the matter with you? Sing me something new. Don't you know the cold and wind and rain don't know? They only seem to come and go away. Hey, stand by me. Nobody knows the way it's gonna be. Stand by me. Nobody knows the way it's gonna be. Stand by me. Nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows the way it's gonna be. The way it's gonna be, yeah. Maybe I can see, yeah. Don't you know the cold and wind and rain don't know? They only seem to come and go away. Stand by me. Nobody knows the way it's gonna be. Stand by me. Nobody knows the way it's gonna be. Stand by me. Nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows the way it's gonna be.
Yeah. So you're a pretty big vinyl enthusiast too?
I'd say medium. Yeah. This is really the first record store day that I've purposefully gone out and celebrated. Like there have been times where I accidentally showed up on a record store day and I was like, oh crap, but this is the first time where I actually went and stood in line before a place opened, and I went and ended up buying like 10 different vinyls today, or vinyl. Sorry. I know vinyl is the plural term too, but for all you sticklers.
Yeah, they always Gary on Stern Show, Gary Delabate. He always has pieces of vinyl, and does he always? And it just makes me laugh. That's proper, but it's just funny to think about, that he kind of gets on people that say vinyls or stuff like that.
A slip of the tongue. That's why I try to just say records, because that can be plural.
Yeah, I think it's the same with for Lego. There's no.
It's not Legos?
No, it's not Legos.
Really?
It's Lego bricks. You can say, but it's
because I always say like if I reference something, I'll be like like stepping on Legos or something.
But apparently like purist, especially for Lego, like they they're like because there's the show now Lego Master.
Yeah.
Like in there, and they're very particular. It's not Legos, it's Lego.
I haven't encountered a hardcore Lego culture, but okay.
Yeah.
I'll take their word for it.
I mean,
my
like,
apologies if I said Legos.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I'm sure I said it, but like since watching the show and all this stuff, like but it just kind of now it sticks with me in my head now. I'm like,
now it's gonna stick with me. So,
so
it's like. How do I? So I drive a Prius, and I've always wondered how would you pluralize that?
Yeah.
Is it Priuses? That just doesn't sound right to me. Prii? I don't know.
Prii. Yeah.
Just feel the Prii.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I didn't participate in Record Store Day this year, but I do buy a ton of vinyl. I recently bought the latest was the new Black Keys Delta Cream record. I bought on vinyl, and what was cool on their website, you could actually, they linked you to your local record store. So I actually purchased it through Vintage Vinyl.
Oh, nice.
So
Very
I
cool.
got to support my local business and get one of my favorite records now and all the stuff. And
Vintage is great.
Yeah. So I hadn't been down there. It's like, it's kind of a drive for me. And it's like, I love going down there when I can, but it was just really super convenient to shop online, grab the record, and they dropped it in the mail and showed up at my door. Yeah. 2 days later, and instead of having to go through Amazon or something like that. And,
that's fantastic.
Whatever, so.
There just happened to be there was a Suede record that I really wanted as a live performance at Brixton Academy in '93 that was like specifically coming out today. And there was only 7,000 copies. And so I called around to all the local places and like none of them had it. And then I called one that was about 30 minutes away and they're like, yeah, we got 3 copies of it. And so I was like, I'm going to be there. Yeah. So I don't know if it's possible that I'm the only person that grabbed a copy, even though they had 3, because I don't know many Suede fans in America, unfortunately. Yeah. So if you like Suede, please get a hold of me.
Yeah, right. But yeah, man, very cool. I don't know. I love the whole process. I talk about it quite a bit on the show too. But just like I enjoy just browsing through the store. I enjoy the active, physical, part of listening to music that way with a record player. And
you pay more attention for sure.
And then I like the large artwork and the liner notes and different things that all the different things that come with it all, compared to just trying to scrunch everything into a CD or into a JPEG file on your phone and stuff.
That's like, I love Spotify, but that's the thing is you don't get to look at any of that stuff and maybe if you want to Wikipedia it or something like that. And if you're lucky enough that it's even on there, but, you're totally right. And sometimes with vinyl too, like people make it more worth your money, like by putting posters in there or something like that, which is if I ever do a run of vinyl, which I hope to maybe after my next EP comes out, maybe do like side A is like this EP, side B is the next one, just want to make it more worth, like not put extra stuff in there. It's the idea. So it's just so expensive. Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. One, especially like, I do feel like maybe prices have come down a bit because of such a resurgence, and I know it's still expensive, but like it's not as elusive as it once was.
Sure,
like,
yeah, I can imagine.
There was I think at one time, a lot of these factories had closed because nobody's buying vinyl records.
Right.
So there was very few record factories even available. So the prices were higher for supply and demand. But I think since the physical products have started coming back more, vinyl sales are just as much now as anything, so like so I think that's definitely helped bring the market back up.
For physical copies, that's what people want anymore. And like I know that there's like a small subculture of people that do like even do cassette tapes now. Or not cassette tapes, you know what I mean? Tapes. Which isn't quite my thing, but
but that's like there's definitely a niche thing, like
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's people same thing. I think there's a nostalgia attached to it all.
Sure. My first music was a tape.
I definitely had tapes and CDs and a lot of outdated media now.
So it's like so I'm struggling with whether to even put this EP on CDs, and I know that there's still going to be like some people that want a physical copy of some sort. I think I'm just going to do like a really short run. It's just tough to decide to do that or not.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. So you said that's fall we're looking at.
Yeah, it should be out like late summer, early fall. I would currently guess the EP will be out September 10th.
Okay.
Is my best guess, because I'm kind of trying to plan things along a 6-week trajectory. So we've got, the single coming out June 18th. Should have the video for it out about 6 weeks later, which is actually being produced by a guy around here. He lives in St. Charles. Brian Clover is doing it.
All right.
And then about 6 weeks after that, it'll probably be like the EP. And then maybe another 6 weeks after that, it'll be another video. You never know. It's just trying to like balance, because, now every day is about content, so.
Yeah. Well, you can find Chris on your Facebook and Instagram and get plugged in for more details with those releases and everything. So follow along there, and you can also play some bar gigs, doing more cover stuff like that Oasis song and things. Yep. So if you want to come support those shows, but hopefully we'll get some stuff with the band and be able to play this new material soon. And
I'm hoping maybe if things are looking up like they keep doing, hoping maybe like October for the first gig with this material, because obviously all the bar and winery things that I do are just me solo acoustic on my own. So.
Yeah, man. But that'd be fun to get a nice proper release party together, and
that'd be fantastic.
And get to debut some of this new stuff out there.
Yeah. And maybe even some of the new stuff that I'm working on now too. So.
Yeah, man. Well, very cool. Well, Chris, I've been going around asking some silly questions, and I thought I'd get your take on some of these.
Okay.
So what's a song that always gets stuck in your head besides your bridge from when you were 17?
Yeah. The Crank Anchors theme tune from the Comedy Central show way back in the early 2000s. That's that or the Andy Griffith theme tune.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh man, I played in a band with a bass player who would purposefully start whistling that around me whenever he probably thought I didn't have it in my head, and then it would be in my head.
Right. So. Oh yeah, that's definitely I get to whistling, and it's always there for sure.
Yeah.
Especially at work, I just get. I don't know why, but that's what one of my things. I just start whistling, and all of a sudden it would be the Andy Griffith theme for some reason.
Yeah. The menu music for the Nintendo Wii is another one that happens all the time. Do 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 do. Oh, constantly.
Yeah. What would be a dream dinner for you? Like if you could invite maybe 3 or 4 whatever people from past to present that you'd like to just hang out and have a conversation at dinner or something.
Oh man,
is there some?
I hate to be obvious, but John Lennon, I guess, it's one. My grandpa Jim would be great too.
Yeah, man.
Let's see, and a third one. Damn it! Hate filling with empty space. It can be edited.
Yeah.
It's a good question. A third one, I would pick maybe Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Man. Yeah. I bet he has some stories to share.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be pretty wild. All right. What about today we have a Chris action figure. What would be your 3 accessories with your action figure?
So I'm going to say one that I think everybody else would probably say, which is hair products, probably. I don't know if it's like my shampoo and conditioner and maybe just the stuff I put in it to tame it, because if you see a picture of me, you'll see that I have very long, blonde, curly hair that everybody likes to point out to me that as if I didn't know that it was there.
All right.
And so that'd be one, I guess.
Do you have any products you want to mention?
I'm gonna plug some products.
Some endorsement deals.
All I use is Tresemme luxurious moisture shampoo and conditioner, and then
what was I think it was like a Will Ferrell thing, or the mane and tail or something like that. He made like a joke that he like uses that horse shampoo or something like that. And I don't know, it always made me laugh. Like, but apparently like that's a real thing. I guess some people actually do, but I'm like, it just made me laugh thinking about that. Like mane and tail. That's what I use.
I guess could an animal count as an accessory that comes with me? Is it limitless or no? Okay, I was gonna say because my dog gets.
I mean it's your.
Okay, it's I guess it's my action figure.
Yeah.
I get to choose whatever I want, and then I'm sure probably a guitar.
Yeah,
you know?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah, man. That would yeah, that's fun.
I'm sure I'll have to hear from some people later, like, oh, you should have said this because I don't know. It's hard to think about yourself in that way. You know, everybody else is a bit more observant.
That's what's kind of fun about it. Like, it's a ridiculous thing to think about, even in
definitely hair products, though. Probably.
Yeah. All right. If you could get into the Guinness Book of World Records for something, what do you think it might be?
Oh man. Oh, that's a good question. I don't want to say Smashing Guitars, which by the way is held by one of my favorite guitarists, I think still on one tour, which is Matt Bellamy from Muse. I think he did like 140 in 2004 or something like that. That's nuts. I don't know if I could ever smash a guitar. Right.
I did see
maybe like eating the most wasabi almonds like ever.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, they're so good.
Yeah.
Or like most pounds of peanut butter eaten in a year. That's the one. That's what I want. Most pounds of peanut butter eaten. I used to keep track. So I don't anymore. I probably need to do that again. But my roommate in college and I used to keep track of how many pounds of peanut butter I would eat. So
yeah, I don't know, man. But we might have to next podcast. We might have to have a challenge or something, a peanut butter off or something.
Oh man, I could destroy a jar and that like give me that in a jar of Nutella. It's gonna be gone. Like
I just discovered I'd heard about it many times from people, but finally went to Trader Joe's myself and got cookie butter over there, and it's so good.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. I've recently switched to almond butter too, and that is expensive but good.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man. All right. What about your peanut butter? Are you smooth or crunchy?
I could go either or. I mostly probably do smooth though.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily like completely brand loyal, but I would say most often probably get Skippy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The natural.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with some Skippy.
Skippy. And when I was a kid, I grew up with Peter Pan, you know. Like, I think when I was in college, my roommate and I would get Jif, you know, peanut butter is peanut butter. I'll eat it all.
That's all good. Yeah.
So that's my answer, to eat the most peanut butter like in one sitting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What would be a dream duet or collaboration you'd like to see for yourself?
It would be really cool to do a duet or a collaboration with Ellie Roswell from Wolf Alice, which is, of course, another British band. But I think they might be doing decent in America. I don't know.
Wolf Alice?
Wolf Alice, yeah. Right. They're, I don't know, still know how to describe them because their records the songs are so different from each other, but they still fit together really well. Like they've got some more like Wall of Sound stuff. They've got some like harder, shouty, punky stuff, and just some beautiful stuff too. They just put out a new album actually called Blue Weekend that came out maybe a week ago or something, and it's fantastic. Yeah. So I think to do one with her would be really cool.
To check it out. That's kind of why I like to ask, because I like to, people will say different things like that, and that people I've never heard of, and get to go do some homework and try to find, see
either her or Damon Albarn from Blur and Gorillaz, because he just like, what a creative person to have as many projects as he has, and constantly change who he is, So that's awesome.
Yeah, even a cartoon.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he turns stuff to her, and then like because he's got another great band, The Good, the Bad, and the Queen, that only put out 2 albums, but man, they're good.
Yeah. I like still a jam that Clint Eastwood and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. I listen a lot of the 90s on 9 and Pop 2K in my car and stuff. So I like to listen to a lot of that stuff, and they'll come in there.
Yep.
But yeah, man. Let's see, what else I got for you? All right. The day we have a biopic, who do you think would be good to be cast to play you in the movie version?
Oh man.
Is there you look like anybody?
Yeah, like Robert Plant. You know, I get that all the time. Or Peter Frampton. Of course, they're all a bit old now. They're too old to play me.
And a dude with long blonde curly hair.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I remember. So I'm really into football, and by that I mean soccer.
Right.
If you want me to put it that way. And there's like a football podcast I listen to out of England called Football Ramble. And they came over to Chicago on tour and did like a live show there. And I met a couple of guys and at the end, one of them's like, "You look like Dave Mustaine." or I think he even told me I looked like a young James Hetfield, which I don't know if I'll take that, but whatever. I was just like, all right, whatever. It's just anybody with long blonde hair.
I think if you cut it into chops and maybe more.
Then I
James,
would see it. Yeah. Instead of the full, scraggly beard kind of thing. Yeah.
That would be cool though.
I don't know who I'd have to. Because I'd have to pick somebody younger.
Yeah,
a mix. If all those people could have a baby, that's who it would be.
Yeah.
All
right. Man, James Hetfield. I love Metallica, but that always there's somebody made like a super cut of like all the times he says yeah. So, but I love it. Those are some. That's the one, man. That's like one of the you mentioned McCartney at Bush, and like that obviously would have been an incredible night too. But I really the one that that I've missed out on. I feel like it would have been super cool to see Metallica there at Bush and that summer. So that's one both of them, but like I get to see a lot of cool shows, but there's definitely some that I don't have the money to swing and make it happen. But
I probably, I don't know if I would have at the time would have had the money to see Paul if it weren't for, because I think my grandma went with me and she bought tickets like for me and like several others. So I think it's because of her that I went, because at that point in time, I don't think I really had too much expendable income.
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks Grandma.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Grandma. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Well, very cool, bud. This has been a fun day, man. I'm really glad we made this happen. And
me too.
Getting to talk about some of this stuff. And again, you can find what is going to be the name of the EP?
Square One.
All right. Yeah. Square. You told me that.
Yeah, that's right.
Square One, available this fall. So keep an eye out for that. But the debut single, June 18th, you'll be able to find that wherever you get your digital music at. And so feel free to add that to your favorite Spotify playlist or whatever, and give it a spin. And, take it on the road with you. Tell everybody about it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man. And,
absolutely.
But I appreciate you doing this, and
I appreciate you meeting me.
I say we do.
Really do.
I say we do it again sometime soon, man.
Maybe around the EP. How about that?
We can do that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Right on. Well, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.